you can see we have a dashboard, we have campaigns, we have marketing list, and we have templates. So you can, again, choose your date and then choose View Report, and you get to see email statistics come across. Again, this is a demo instance, so there's not going to be a whole lot here, but if we had sent emails from this demo instance, you'd see a number of, how many opens, how many sent, how many clicks. You can get a visual view of it. Down here, it's actually looking at it for the year. So you can see it goes back to February 2010 all the way to November, and it tells you, again, in more of a bar graph of how many opens, how many clicks, how many email campaigns sent. Down here, as people are engaging, as leads are clicking, as contacts are clicking on any link, obviously other than unsubscribe, forward to a friend and such, as they're engaging with the links in your campaign, we're going to be capturing that data and we're going to be populating it here based on if they're a lead or based on if they're a contact. So if I send it to Joe, Joe receives my email, he's a contact, he clicks on a couple links in my email, his information is going to be here. It's going to see the subject line, the post date, which is the date the campaign was sent. I'm trying to scroll over here. It's going to show you how many opens, how many clicks, how many unsubscribes, and the delivery message. So good information, definitely something you want to keep an eye on as campaigns are going out. Then we have our campaigns under e-marketing. It's probably going a bit slower because GoToMeeting slows everything down, it seems like. Have you guys been able to get into the system and play around with it a little bit?
Not as yet, I don't think, no.
Okay. These are just the campaigns that you've created from Sales Fusion or inside using our system, so you can actually view it. Let me choose this one. As you are sending out campaigns, you're also going to be able to see the statistics. So when I open up a campaign, and I have about 10 windows open right now of pre-populated stuff, so let me see. Just use this one. Once you send the campaign, and we'll get into the screen in just a moment, and you've processed it, it's already out the door, this is going to be the button that you will click on, Show Statistics, which is going to give you more in-depth information about what you're looking at. It's going to tell you how many people it was sent to, how many people unsubscribed, how many people opened, clicked, bounced, the delivery messages. It's going to be some really relevant information, and I'll show you that as well. I don't know if this campaign, I apologize, it's actually Dynamics, so it looks like it's being held up. But I will show you the statistics, and we'll run through and talk about those before we get off this call as well. Let me go back. I can't find where I was. There we go. Okay, I'm going to go back to Sales Fusion. And inDynamics is just getting stuck. Okay, so and these are just dashboards that you're going to be able to come in and take a look at. Now, marketing list. To send to somebody from inDynamics, Sales Fusion inDynamics, you have to have a marketing list. So you have to create a marketing list and tie it to a campaign. There's no other way to do it. So you first create the marketing list, and then you'll add the marketing list to the particular campaign. It is only static marketing list. So I know that Microsoft 2011 has those new dynamic marketing lists. You cannot use those with our system. So just the normal, regular, static marketing list that you can create is what we're going to be using inside of our system. Okay. Obviously, you guys know how to create a marketing list. Can I assume that?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So let's go down to templates. And I already have some preloaded templates. I know that you guys have been using very basic templates. Obviously, Microsoft does not allow you to do a whole lot with HTML. So what you actually have access to is you have access to the Sales Fusion template library, which is all HTML. There's many different ways to create some content, and I'm actually going to show you the ways that you would do it. Now, obviously, you would select New, and then you would need to give it a name, and you would have to hit Save. And once you hit Save, there we go. Once you enter the template name and you hit Save, you're going to see this box appear, and this is where you can create your content. Now, there's, again, a few different ways to create it. You have a little icon here, which is the uppercase and lowercase a, which is called Template Manager. So if you guys use an outside design program, such as Dreamweaver, to create your content, then you can simply upload your HTML or HTML file directly here. We also have our Image Manager here. This is where you will upload any logos, any images, anything that you want to have populated inside the HTML. We do have a size limit of 2 megabytes, so if it's bigger than that, then you're going to need to resize it and bring it down. You can also create it from scratch. You can do that by inserting tables. You can set the properties. You can start typing, anything that you want to do here, if you want to do it that way. If you have somebody who is versed in HTML, you can switch over to the raw HTML source code and work directly here. You guys familiar with HTML?
Some of us are.
Okay, good. If I scroll all the way down to the bottom, I again have some additional options. I can use Slurp. This feature is user beware because you do need to have HTML knowledge for you to properly use it. What Slurp does is I can put in any website here. So I'm just going to put in my main website. And when I click on Slurp, what it's going to do is it's going to go out to that website and there are all the HTML, all the JavaScript that it possibly can, and it's going to populate it here inside of the template. The only issue with that is that the script that's supported on web pages is not exactly supported in email campaigns. There are some legal characters. So you need to have the knowledge to go in and actually remove the JavaScript, the analytics, etc., that will appear in here. You can see that it took just a moment, but this is pretty much what the salesfusion.com website looks like. Obviously, it's missing a few things. Some of the navigation doesn't work properly. But if you use this feature, again, make sure you know what you need to switch over to HTML and remove. We, again, have another area to import an HTML or an HTML file. And then you can also import from an already existing campaign. So let's say that Joe does a great campaign, and Susie wants to copy exactly what he did for his HTML. She can find his campaign and then click on Import Selected Campaigns, and it will make an exact replica. It will not mess with the original campaigns. We also have, for people who are not familiar with HTML and you want something quick and easy to plug in, we have a library here that you can access. When I click on Library, let me go here. I apologize, just a second. Looks like my screen is frozen. There we go. So when you click on Library, you get access to over 750 different templates that you can utilize in your campaigns. The dialog templates you will not use. These are specifically for forms that you can create inside of the Sales Fusion system, but again, you guys do not have access to that, so just ignore those. We have a couple mobile templates. If you know you're going to be sending only to mobile users, then we have some that are size-wise to fit perfectly on mobile devices. And then we have our Sales Fusion templates and our template zone. We have everything from newsletters to greeting cards to Christmas cards to memos, correspondences, anything that you want in there, pretty much plug and play. So we're going to give you some socket placeholders, and we're going to give you some text placeholders. And all you have to do is, these are a little small, so you can preview it larger. And then if you like it, you can select it, and it will be available for you to add into your campaign. And I'll show you where to add that in a moment. You can also search. So let's say that your colors are gold and blue. You can type in keywords gold and blue, and we'll pull anything that comes back with those colors. So very robust feature here. The text tab is important. It's actually quite important, especially for integrated users such as yourself who are using an external CRM, such as Microsoft or SalesLogic and such. With the text, once you're done with your HTML, you always have to convert the HTML to basic text for a couple of reasons. The first reason is not everybody supports HTML. You still have those people or those companies who don't allow HTML. And in that case, you would rather them receive something rather than nothing. We'll always try to deliver the HTML first, but if for some reason we can't, we'll turn around and deliver the basic text. It's also important because when we are mapping back that we sent a campaign, that somebody opened a campaign, or somebody clicked a campaign, we have to push the text version. Microsoft will not let us push the HTML version. So if you don't convert to text, we have nothing to push in, and we can't log that record at the individual level. So very important. All you really have to do is click on Convert HTML to Text, and that's pretty much it. It'll strip out any images. It'll strip out any hyperlinks. It'll, again, very basic text. Please note that basic text emails, we cannot tell you if somebody opens or clicks on them because they don't support our encoding scripts. So if 10 people receive your campaign as a basic text because they don't support HTML, if they open and click on it, we can't tell you that. So just something to keep in the back of your mind. We also have a testing tab. With email campaigns, you always want to test, and test some more, especially when you're working with HTML. If you guys know HTML, you know it's a little sneaky sometimes, so I send myself multiple tests and send it to other people as well. You'll see that you have a test subject line. Most people just type in test. And you'll see that when you're logged in, your email address will automatically populate here. Prevents you from having to type it in each and every time. You can also separate with a semicolon and send it to multiple people, so I can put in somebody else and have it go to them as well. We have two types of tests that you can send. We have with encoding and we have without encoding. And there are two big differences between the two. The first is that with encoding, it will allow you to test any personalization tags. So if you're populating the email with somebody's first name and you have the placeholder tag ++ first name ++. If you send it with encoding, we will reference the recipient's record and populate that value. So if you're sending it to yourself, we're going to reference your record, populate with the first name value. Obviously, you have to have a record and you have to have data in that record to test personalization. The other big difference is when we send a test with encoding, we add our encoding script, which allows us to cookie people. So when you send to somebody, they click on a link to anywhere that contains our web analytics code, let's say your website. You send an email, they click on your website link, they go to your website, and at the same time, we're also cooking them. If I take that email and I turn around and manually forward it to 5 other people, and those 5 other people click on it, they are now cross-cookied as me. So it's very important to make sure that if you need to get approval from somebody else in your company and send them a test, you separate it with a semicolon and enter their email address, or you send a test without encoding so cross-cooking does not happen. Any questions on that?
Nope.
Okay. We also have a spam feature. It's called Spam Assassin that you can use to score your HTML and see if it's rendering as spam. So if it comes back anything other than a 0, it will give you a little bit technical of a response, but you can click on here for more information to dive a little bit deeper to see how you can correct it. We have a threshold of 6.3, which is pretty low, and if it is over 6.3, we will reject your campaign. We have our IP reputation to protect, and for us, 6.3 is too high. I've never seen anybody reach 6.3 though, so you got to be doing something really bad, selling all kinds of prescriptions at that point to get a 6.3. Okay. Am I going too fast, or you guys got this? Everybody good? Okay. The next area that I want to talk about is the merge fields. Merge fields are important because it is how you can dynamically change some of the content inside of a campaign. Now, we have some little sub-tabs here that we're going to review. The first tab that you see is called Common. And this is where you're going to get your common tags such as view HTML as a web page, forward to a friend, unsubscribe link. We have two types of each of these. We have a standard tag, and then we have a custom tag. For the standard tag, the text that renders, you cannot modify. So you simply take this tag, copy it, you go back to your HTML and paste it right in. When it renders, it would say, click here to view as a web page. If you don't like that wording, you need to use a custom tag. What you do with the custom tag here, you can see it's prefix sign HTTP, is you would type your own text, such as, having trouble seeing this, click here. And then you would hyperlink the text that you want the person to click on using this URL. It looks like a funny URL, but I promise you it does work. That just allows you to have your own wording, consistency, look and design, and feel with what your campaigns will look like. You have the same option for forward to a friend. You again have a custom tag here, and then you have a standard tag here, and then you have the custom one, which again, custom ones are always going to be prefixed by the HTTP. And then we have the unsubscribe link. Unsubscribe is mandatory for all your campaigns simply because it is considered a bulk email and we have to abide by the CAN-SPAM Act. We have a standard tag, and then we have a custom tag. We know we cannot always bet that somebody is going to remember to put that in there. So if for some reason you forget to use one or the other in your campaign, we will always place the unsubscribe in there for you. So if we don't detect one, one goes in regardless. Okay? The next area over is the database fields, and this is pulling data from accounts, contacts, leads, and owner information. This is how you could bring in that person's first name. So let's say that you did want it to say hi Jamie. You'd have to use the first name tag. We will have your custom fields in here in your Microsoft fields. So you can see, I know Microsoft uses address 1. You can see we have all of those address 1 fields. If you have custom fields specific to your company, those should be in there as well. Pretty much, you find the field you're looking for, and when you click on it, it's going to populate over here to the right. When it does, you will copy the tag, go back to your HTML, and paste it right in. Very quick and very easy. We do not have a way to have a default value. So if, let's say, the person here is blank, doesn't have a first name, it will be blank on the email as well. So you do need to make sure it makes sense with or without a value there. Okay. Whoops. Let me stop that. Dynamics is just not, Microsoft's not working for me today. So here you have accounts. Here you have contacts, and we use contacts as more of a generic term, so lead fields would also be under this drop-down as well. We have owner, which allows you to dynamically change who it's coming from, or maybe a signature. Let's say you wanted to say thank you, and then have it dynamically populate with the owner of the record's information. Well, if Susie receives it, then it would say, thank you, Jamie Whited, VP Client Services. If Bob receives it and Michael's the owner, it would say, thank you, Michael Norris, Client Services. So again, these are just tags that you're able to utilize. Has everything first name, last name, job title, phone number, individual signatures, and such. The task and the event do not apply to you, so ignore those. Social, this is probably one of my favorite tags, and it's a very easy tag to use, and I think everybody should use it and include it in every single campaign. This tag, or these tags rather, are not for people to click to follow you on Twitter, or click to find you on LinkedIn, or click to befriend you on Facebook. Not at all. These are social networking tags that allow people to share your email campaign on their social media sites, pretty much giving you free access to all their contacts, connections, friends, anybody they have on their social media. Pretty much all you do is you take the tag, you put it into your campaign, and most people say something like, to share on your social media, click here. If I were to click on Facebook, it would ask me to log into my Facebook account, and it would post a link to your campaign. Pretty much this is free advertising. I absolutely love it. Even if you're not into social media, it's a great way to get your company out there, because if somebody's interested enough, they're going to share it. We have Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and then we also have our social bundle, which comes with Dig and StumbleUpon. Okay. Dialogues, don't worry about that. Again, that's another feature you guys do not have access to. Same with events and same with RSS. So you will pretty much stick to these three: common, database, and social. Okay? Do I have any questions so far? All right, I'm going to close that screen out. So that's finished with this Sales Fusion area. So now we're going to take a look at how to create a campaign. So I have one open. And what you need to do is from the campaign screen, bear with me for just a quick moment. So this is from your normal marketing screen. You would go to Campaigns. You would create a new campaign, and you would give it a name. And once you give it a name, then the Sales Fusion button would appear. So let me show you that real quick. I'm going to select New, and hopefully Microsoft will be quick about opening a window. Maybe. Okay. So this is the normal screen that you guys are used to seeing, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So type in a name. I'm just going to type in testing mine. And right now this is not enabled. You can't click on it. But as soon as you hit save, this becomes open, and you'll be able to click on it and be taken into the Sales Fusion campaign editor. And it's thinking. Okay. I apologize that Microsoft is taking so long. So here's Sales Fusion. You can see now it's enabled, and when I click on it, it's actually going to render the campaign tab like this. Now, the first screen that you're going to actually see is called Email Info. You have your campaign name here, and you have your subject line. This is what the actual recipient will see. You have who it's coming from, and you can obviously change this. So I can say I'm doing a campaign for sales, and I can say, you know what, it's not coming from me. It's actually coming from sales@company.com. So it does allow you to change it. And again, you can use those merge fields to dynamically change who it's coming from. So you can say, if Susie is the owner of the record, then the recipient would see Susie@AxiomFire.com. If Bob's the owner, it would say Bob@AxiomFire.com. Employee name, sender. Now, we internalize all of the hard bounces. And a hard bounce means that we were not able to deliver the email to the recipient server. It got rejected before it could even get in. Those are your bad domains. Those are your policy-related, your hard spam hits, and such. Those mean that we will not be able to send to them again. However, whoever is in the from is still going to receive your soft bounces. And soft bounces mean that we were able to get into the recipient server. We got a message back from them saying it was delivered, but for some reason it wasn't able to get into their inbox. These are your out-of-offices. These are your mail overages. These are sometimes soft spam hits. So if you are going to be sending to a lot of people, let's say you have it going to 5,000 people, you might want to think carefully about who you have it coming from so it doesn't overwhelm somebody's individual email box. Send date and time that you're actually going to be sending it. When you first send a campaign, make sure that this is the correct time that you're supposed to be under. Obviously, I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, so this would not be correct. Email throttle. Email throttle is a way to prevent oversaturation of your database. As more and more people are sending campaigns, you're sending more campaigns out in a small amount of time, you don't want somebody to get too many emails in too little time. Otherwise, they're more apt to unsubscribe. If 5 of you have a campaign going out between today and tomorrow, that might be too many emails if somebody's on every list that you guys are using. Keep in mind, we'll never send the same exact email to the same person more than one time. But if Johnny, Susie, Bob, Joe, and Carrie are all sending different emails, and a person's on all of their list, they will get 5 emails. The email throttle tells the system if they have received a campaign from our system within 3 days, do not send them this one. They won't be put on hold. They will be simply taken out of the campaign completely. So probably doesn't apply to you guys right now, but again, as you move forward and you're sending more, this might be something you want to take into consideration.
I think that will apply to us. So that numeric that you put in there is a day, essentially. 1 equals a day, yeah?
Uh-huh. That means if they've received anything within the past day, 24 hours, they will not receive this campaign.
So we could put 7 days in there if we wanted to, yeah?
Absolutely. You can put 25 in there if you want.
Right. Okay.
You can't put 2.5, though. So you got to be whole numbers.
Sure. All right, yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. If you don't care about when they've received the last campaign, just leave it as a 0. Send notification, we'll just send an email to whoever's in the from email address, letting them know that this campaign has been sent to the encoding queue. Attached file, you guys don't have access to this, so don't worry about it. And RSS feeds, you don't have access to. SMS, you don't have access to. You guys have some things that you don't have access to, just so you know. inDynamics, again, is a much smaller package than our normal one. Text only, I would not recommend using this. You can. This is if you want to use basic text only, no HTML whatsoever. But again, as I mentioned before, we can't track when people open or click that text campaign. So to me, it puts you at a big disadvantage. You can still do very basic campaigns using HTML. You don't have to get all fancy with tables and div tags and fonts and styling and logos and all that stuff. You can keep it very, very simple, very plain, but it would still allow us to track people as they open and click. We also have another feature which is called A/B testing, and you guys might have some fun with this. A/B testing allows you to test 2 different types of content and 2 different subject lines to see which one does better. When this is clicked, you're going to see an additional subject line appear, and you're going to see now not just HTML, you see HTML-A, text-A, HTML-B, and text-B. Common question that we would get from people is, well, you know, do I use, which subject line do you like better? I can give you my opinion all day long, but I'm just a single person. We'd rather you test out the subject lines and see which one does better, or have real dynamic content in A and real basic content in B and see which one has better opens and clicks. Get the comparison. As we're sending out your campaign, we're just going to go down the list, and first person will get A, second person will get B, third person gets A, fourth person gets B. And we're going to round robin until the list is exhausted. Once exhausted, you can then click on Show Statistics, and we're actually going to show you how Campaign A did compared to Campaign B. So good information, especially I think would be beneficial for you guys now that you actually have access to HTML and some different designs in our system. Hide campaign doesn't apply to you guys, and email header does not apply to you guys. Any questions so far? Okay. Over here, this looks very similar to what we were just looking at in the template designer. Obviously, you don't have to create a template. You can come in here and create it directly within the campaign as well. You don't have access to the library, that 750 plus library, directly from a campaign. For that, you have to go into the template designer to pull it. You also have the ability to add a template. So let's say that you pick 5 of those templates from the library, and you select them, and you modify them, and you play with them, and you're good, and now you want to insert them into a campaign. This is the one that I just did, the training one, and click on Import. And it will be brought right in here for you to use or modify, make minor tweaks and changes if needed. There's also the Merge Fields tab, which we just talked about, which was the database fields and the common and the social networking. When you click on this, it opens another window where you'll be able to get that information directly from the screen. You don't have to worry about bouncing back to the templates. The text works exactly the same way. It's just down here in the bottom where it says Convert HTML. Again, have to do this. You have to do this. It's Very important, especially with inDynamics customers. Email text-B would be the same exact way. And then, of course, we have a testing tab. Now, I want to show you something that's very cool. So I'm going to put in testing 1, 2, 3, just something simple. This is the same testing tab that we just discussed. You can type in multiple email addresses. You have send with encoding, without encoding, spam assassin, etc. There is one additional feature, which, again, I love, which is called Submit to Preview. Email clients, your Yahoo Mail, your Google Mail, your Outlook 2010, Outlook 27, those all could possibly render your HTML in slightly different ways. It's up to the email client how they want to read your HTML. The Submit to Preview allows you to see your design in 30 different email clients, so you can get a good feel of how it's actually looking. When I click on it, and it might, again, oops, please enter subject. You have to enter a subject line, so that's good to know. So I'm going to type in my testing. Go back to testing. Okay, and you scroll back down. Okay, I'm going to submit to preview again. And I should get pop-up. And the pop-up is going to be a, pretty much, you have to agree to not contact Sales Fusion client services with design issues. We are not designers. We can troubleshoot occasionally, but I will never claim to be an HTML designer. You'll have to go to somebody internally to be able to assist you with the actual campaign and the HTML. So it's just basically saying you're agreeing not to contact our client service department and just click I agree. Okay. Once it's done, you're going to get a link, and it's taking just a second. But you're going to get a link down at the bottom that's going to say Preview Email. And it's still taking a second. Okay. Scroll down. There we go. So right underneath the Submit to Preview is Preview Email. When you click on Preview Email, it's going to open up a completely new page, and you're going to probably see a whole bunch of red X's at first. What it's doing is it's submitting it to all those different email clients, and it's going to render the results for you to actually view. So the page is going to come up, and you're going to see a bunch of red X's. If you keep refreshing, you're going to start to see some info come in. So you can see the X's go away, and you can actually see your email on Facebook. You can see it in Apple Mail. You can see it on an iPad. You can see it on an iPhone. Great information. Really good way to test your email. I put a disclaimer out there, and Kevin Miller, our VP of Sales, has a great analogy that I love to use. It's called whack-a-mole. You guys may or may not be familiar with that game, but it's where you whack-a-mole and another one pops up somewhere. Whack that one and another one pops up somewhere. That's how you need to look at this, because if you are looking at AOL Desktop and you see it doesn't look correct there, so then you go to your HTML, you correct it there, and then it doesn't look right in Gmail IE. So you correct it there, and it looks great in Gmail IE, but now it doesn't look right in Hotmail. You will never be able to 110% satisfy all of these. Never. So it's important to know which ones you're most interested in. Your recipients may be using a lot of Outlook 2007 or 2010. Those are the ones that you need to pay attention to. The other ones should just be, oh, good information type stuff. As you continue to refresh, you'll mostly see all these X's go away. Occasionally, we don't get a response, but for the most part, it's some good information to try. Any questions on that?
No, I really like that.
Okay. Most people do like that. It's a very, very cool feature. When you are ready to send your campaign, you are going to click on this link here that says Save, Approve, and Send. You're going to get this little box, and this is our fail-safe. We are asking you, are you sure that you are completely and totally ready to send this campaign? If yes, you need to check that box and then say approve and send. Keep in mind that the way our system sends is we need to first pull down the marketing list so that it exists in our system. Then we pull down the campaign, we tie the two together, and then it gets sent out. So it's not going to get sent out in 5 minutes. It usually takes about 20 minutes. Obviously, it depends on the size of your marketing list for us to send it out. We have to wait for that next sync to occur with your system. So set expectations. I usually tell our inDynamics customers to usually send it a couple hours in advance. If it's going to more than 10,000 people, you need to send it a day in advance. That gives us time to properly sync the marketing list, pull down the campaign, and get it out the door. Okay? And once you're done, you're going to have the show statistics box, and this is where you're going to be able to see the information of how many people opened, how many people clicked, what did they click on. I'm going to open it up. I'm not going to have any results. But all of these are links. So, for example, bounced. If I click on bounced, it's going to show me all of the hard bounces and why they bounced. Was it policy related? Was it bad domain? Was it a bad email address, etc.? Great information, good place to be able to look, and you can see campaign A and campaign B are separated out here. Okay. We also have to be mailed queue, canceled, sent, rejected. Rejected are usually the ones that are not proper email addresses. So if somebody puts in Jamie@Jamie and we try to send to it, that's going to be a rejected one. Excluded domains, email throttle. If you're using that throttle and you put in 7 days and somebody gets picked up because they received an email within 7 days, you'll be able to see who got taken out of the campaign. Already unsubscribed, already undeliverable. Delivered, bounced. Again, these are hard bounces only, not soft bounces. And not reported. Not reported is not a bad thing. It simply means that we have not gotten a message back from the recipient server to say it was delivered or it bounced. It can take minutes, it can take days, it can take weeks for us to get a message back, and we have absolutely no control over that. We are simply waiting for the recipient server to give us something. If you continue to monitor it, you'll see this number not reported go down to pretty much 0, and you'll see it either going to delivered or bounced. Any questions on campaigns right now? Okay. Let's go into the next area, which is inside the contact and lead record. So inside of contact and lead, this is your standard card, you're going to see this new tab here called Sales Fusion. When that is clicked, it opens up what we call a marketing dashboard. Nope, that's not it. Let me close that one out. Slowly getting rid of all my screens. Okay. When that Sales Fusion button is clicked, this is what you're going to see rendered. And this is information that lives inside of Sales Fusion. We're going to show you the recent web activity. We're going to show you the web history. This is in-depth data of what the person is looking at. Mine's going to take a moment to have a lot of data. I can come here, and I can actually view what this person looked at. So when I click on View Web History, it's going to get some information of what pages I looked at, how long I spent on pages, and it's thinking about it. Give it just a moment. Okay. So down here, you get to see all the information that we were able to gather, everything from my operating system to my total duration to where I'm located. And then you get to see what they clicked on. You get to see this is the page that they started on, this is the path that they took, and this is how long they spent on those pages. A lot of times people don't recognize the page titles, and in that case, you can click on this, and it will actually open up that page. So great information, especially when you're getting on a call with somebody. Sent emails will show you all these that have been sent from the Sales Fusion system, and if they opened them, if they clicked on them, did they unsubscribe, did they forward. You also get to view the email, so if you can't remember what this one was, you can actually view it. And then you can also click on link, and I can see exactly what link this person clicked on. So I can click on link, and it will show me what 2 links I clicked on. Okay. So it shows you that I clicked on forward to a friend, I clicked on preview campaign, and then I clicked on unsubscribe. You also get to add somebody to an already existing campaign. So if, let's say, Johnny did a campaign, and I'm in a record, and I want to add them to Johnny's campaign, I can find his campaign here and say Add to Campaign. Compose email is an individual email that you can send one-on-one to this person. You do not have to have the unsubscribe for individual emails like this. It's just for main email campaigns because it's a bulk email. This does not have to have an unsubscribe. You can, again, create it from scratch, or you can switch over to HTML. Distribution list. This is a marketing list. We call marketing list distribution list in our system. So if they belong to any list, this is where you're going to see the information, and you can add them to already existing list. Dialogues and multi-channel marketing. You will not be using these, so don't worry about those. Life cycle is just if you want to get a cumulative look at their activity one. You can look at all the web activity combined with sent emails, combined with web history, combined with, that's pretty much all you guys will be using. And scoring summary and scoring, you guys don't have access to that either. So if you look here, it's not going to show you anything. Okay? Questions, comments? I'm sorry, I can barely hear you. Can I go back to where?
The distribution list.
Sure.
I think it's green first a bit.
Okay. Can you guys see it here?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is just shows you any marketing list, static marketing list that they belong to.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and close that one out. And all contacts, leads, and accounts will have that Sales Fusion button. So keep that in mind. Okay, so that is pretty much inDynamics. It's a lot of information, probably a lot more than you were expecting, but it's going to be some great information. And as you start to use your campaigns, as people start to engage your campaigns, you'll start to see the web activity and the campaigns tied into one another and living at the contact lead level. You guys have been really quiet. Any questions?
In relation to templates, presumably if we create a template with our logos and graphics and things like that, we can save them somewhere so that they're accessible.
Yeah, it should save inside of the main template area. So under Sales Fusion here,
yeah,
it will be right here under templates. Yours may be called marketing automation, but it'll be under there called templates.
Yeah.
And that's where you'll be able to access them as you create them.
It's actually called email marketing now. But yeah, okay. So the templates will be in there. So
That is correct.
We can pull out of the library, adapt them, change them, and then save them into templates there.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, we don't populate the whole library automatically because, again, it's a lot, and it's a lot that people won't use. So you do have to create a new template, go to the library, and choose which one you want to have available to you.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay? Any other questions?
You mentioned about emailing campaigns and the fact that they do static ones. Am I right in assuming we can't do the trigger campaigns then?
That is correct.
So
Yeah.
is there any way of using a better template in the Microsoft, just the CRM version, to send a trigger campaign?
I would have to defer to Blue Chip on that. I'm not as familiar with the trigger campaigns inside of Microsoft.
All right, thanks.
Anything else? Okay. All right. Well, I would say get into the system and start playing with it. As questions come up, I ask that you email support@salesfusion.com, and a client service rep from Sales Fusion will be able to get back to you.
Great.
Who should I send the video to? I'm going to go ahead and stop recording.